Hello, it's Jack, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. Just got off the bus early morning, got here to work. Hopefully there's someone in that can make me a cup of tea and get me a muffin. Anyway, what we're going to do today, before you click away, something quite exciting, quite interesting, is profit in vehicles and how much profit we actually make as opposed to the profit we think we make based on this little fella here where it says profit. Just bought this from the auction, just visited the auction. It's a standard, run-of-the-mill 1978 Bolt Chapman, nothing special about it. It's a bit broken. It's leveling out around about 35% in total. Yeah, what did I pay for it? I paid 17,940 on it, and I've got 18,000 on the sell value, so I'm in profit 154. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some repairs on this lovely vehicle, and we're actually going to see where the money lies and how much profit we actually make in terms of what we're spending on it, okay, and what we can sell it for. Now you think, well, that's pretty straightforward, but let's see, shall we, if there's a difference between what is being reported in the car mechanic profit here and the actual profit that we can calculate quite easily. Okay, so we take a look at what I have in the bank right now. It's 25,660, and I'm going to take a note of that. Okay, and anything I spend on this vehicle is going to be deducted obviously from my bank account, and then when I come to sell it, I can do the cross-reference and deduct, the profit I'm making against what I had in the bank, and then we come to the real profit. Oh, and you might say, Jack, you can use some of the parts you've got in your inventory. Well, no, I can't, because you know what? My inventory, which is not there, which is here, is completely empty. Okay, so anything I put on this car, I've either got to have it fixed. It's going to be the same old part, or a fixed part, or I'm going to have to buy a new part. Okay, so let's see how much money we spend and reference that against the actual profit we make in game. Okay. So first off the bat, what we're going to do is we're going to remove all the wheels. Now, when I look for cars in the scrap, not the scrapyard so much, but certainly at auctions, I really look for cars that have the four wheels on, because generally if they've got four wheels on, then it generally means that most of the suspension and the running gear is present. There is a few exceptions to that rule. You can put some of the wheels back on. I say the wheel, that's the combination of the rim and the tyre. You can put the wheels back on when some of the suspension parts are actually missing, especially when it comes to the suspension on the back end. I think you can put it on without having all this good stuff here. What they're called, these leaf springs and whatnot. But generally, if the wheels are on the car in the auction, even in the scrapyard, then most of the running gear is there, which means the potential to be repaired if it's in a good enough state. So we were into this for 154 profit. We're now into this at 638 minus 638, because obviously we've taken parts off the vehicle by reducing the parts bill here, the parts value here, we're reducing the overall value of the car. I mean, that's straightforward, isn't it? I mean, come on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do all the exterior first. We're going to redo the wheels, repair what we can, then we're going to take all the body shell off, if you like, and the doors and everything, repair any of that, shove it back on, and see how much we've spent, and see how much profit we're actually making, see if it's actually worthwhile, repairing the body and also putting new wheels and stuff on. So let me crack on with that. I'm going to go and separate the wheels, repair what I can, and I'll be back shortly. Hello, so we're back. So as you can see, I managed to repair all of the rims. They were all in pretty good fettle. Obviously not been able to repair the tyres. So what we're going to do now is put the tyres back together, and we're going to stick those on the car, and we're going to see what the value increase is. So just bear with me, and I'll put these tyres back on. Okay, so sorry, a bit of a frog in the throat this morning. So there we go, and let's just stick these on. And you might ask, well, why are we even doing this? Well, what we're doing is showing how much these new wheels are adding value to the vehicle, and how much we've actually spent on getting these wheels to the condition they're in now, which is brand new. And I think by playing the game this way, you know, emptying the inventory so you know exactly what you're spending on a vehicle, I think it's kind of a bit more fun than just, you know, when you make so much money, not that I have in this game yet, well, not on this save game anyway, but when you, it's so easy to make money in this game as you get higher up the levels that, you know, I think people get lost in all the money they've got, and then it becomes less fun to play because you're not setting yourself any challenges really, apart from, oh, maybe I want the biggest engine and blah blah blah, and you know, the most performance parts, and all of a sudden the money just becomes irrelevant. And for me, I prefer playing it like, you know, money means something in the game. Anyway, I'm just chatting away. So here we go. 1545. Okay, that is what I can make in profit now that I've just put four spanking new wheels on. Bear in mind I repaired the rims, so I didn't have to spend any money on the rims, okay? So that's an important thing to note. Okay, so let's break this down, shall we, into something that we can understand in the profit of what we're being told. We're being told we're making a profit of 1545. Okay, now we have to consider the money in the bank before I bought the car, okay, was sitting at 43,556, and I bought the car for 17,940 credits in the auction, which left me with this starting figure, which, you know, I identified in the beginning of the video, and it was 25,616. Okay, now money in the bank after I put new wheels on was 24,668. So I spent 748 credits on it. Okay, now the sell value after the new the new wheels was 19,485. Okay, so money in the bank, if I sold it now, I'd have 44,353, which is, you know, more than I started with before I bought the car, which is 43,556. I am not considering here, okay, the trip to the auction, okay, just so you know. So when it's telling me that I'm making 1545 credits, well, the maths don't really stack up. Well, they do, but you need to know how it's calculated in game. So we take the profit we're going to make, or at least what we're going to have in the bank after we sell this vehicle, which is here, 44,353. If I take that away from what I started with, 43,556, I'm left with 797 credits. That is how much my bank balance has increased after I sell this car as opposed to when I started the game before I bought the car. I know you didn't see this because I actually bought the car before I started the video, but take my word for it, that's what was in the bank. Okay, so where does this 1545 come from? Well, it comes from the 748 credits I already spent on doing the wheels up, okay, that is what it cost me to repair the rims and get the new tyres, okay, and then build the wheels up. So the actual profit is being recorded as 1545, but I've already out of pocket here, and you can't argue that this here, which is money in bank if car sold now, minus what I started in the bank at the beginning of the project before I bought the car, is 797. Okay, it's nearly half the profit that we're actually making on this vehicle, but that is not how it's recorded in the car details. So I think it's an important point to make, that the profit here, yes, you're making some profit, you're going to have more money in the bank than you started with, but it's not what it's representing here. Now you might think, well, it's negligible, it's not that much money. I agree, it's not that much money, but all we've done here is put some new wheels on the car. I mean, let's go a little bit further, and if we were to take off, you know, all of the body work and redo all that and all that good stuff, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, the profit I'm making, is it really the profit I'm making? So without further ado, let's see by adding body parts, because this is also a good example by letting you see what parts you add to the car, which ones add the most value. I mean, without shadow of a doubt, an engine adds the most value to the vehicle, okay? But if we just take these body parts off, let's get what we can repaired, let's put some new ones up if we can't repair them, and let's see where we stand. We have all the figures, we've got all the numbers, 24868 in the bank right now, so let's just see where we end up, shall we? Okay, so all the body parts are off, as you can see. Looking a bit shabby now, isn't it? Let's go and see if we can just quickly... Oh, wrong one. We need the repair table, don't we? Let's just see if we can repair some of these parts, shall we? Hopefully we can. They're actually not in too bad condition, are they, really? Now, bearing in mind, depending on the repair, ability that you have, repairing the parts is obviously going to be cheaper than buying them new. So we are going to be saving some money here and also changing the calculations slightly. But again, that also comes down to the cars that you select from the auction or the scrapyards. How are they repairable? Because again, that can make a big difference in terms of how much profit you're going to make on the vehicle. So now all that's done, we should be able to stick everything back on it. I mean, this doesn't take any time at all. One thing we're not doing right now, or I haven't repaired obviously because I can't, is the windows and the lights and all that good stuff. But let's just have a quick look, see if we can get all this back together. Doo -doo -doo. So what else have we got? There was actually a lot of parts on the vehicle as well, which is nice. Oh, that's a dodgy colour. What's all that about? Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm not sure. Did we have the wing mirrors? No, we didn't have that one, obviously. But we had that fender, and we have this front bumper. So that's all body parts put on, obviously apart from the lights and the windows. So let's have a quick shufty, shall we? What are we looking at now? 3,338 in profit. Now, is that the real case, or do we have something to take off that? Ding! So here we are. Money in the bank before buying the car, cost of the car, and obviously this money in the bank at the start of the project is the same. However, what we've done now is just spent a bit more money. So the total spend now is 1,265. So money in the bank after the upgrade is now 24351, which you saw on the in the game screen. Then the sell value after the upgrades is going to be 21,278. Okay, so on the money in the bank now would be 45,629 if we sold it as it is right now. So we take the profit, oh sorry, the value of the vehicle now, sorry, the money we would have in the bank now if we sold it against what we had when we began the project before buying the car, and we have 2,073. Well, Car Mechanic is telling us we'd have 3,338, which we would if we consider the parts we've already bought and the repairs, or sorry, the money we've already spent on doing the repairs. Any body parts we bought which we didn't, we just basically we were able to repair them. Now, bear in mind that the repair cost is cheaper than buying a new part, so we would have spent more money on buying new parts than we did repairing them, and therefore this spend would have been higher, and therefore the actual profit would have been less, because it's the same part we're putting on, we're just repairing it to 100% rather than buying a 100% part. So we would spend more money buying new parts, and therefore the value of the car would still be the same because it's the same part, same condition, but the spend would be higher, and therefore the profit we make by having bought the parts would have been less. So the actual profit made so far is 2,073. It is not 3338 because we need to take away and deduct this value here, which is the amount we've spent. Okay, now it's not confusing, but when you lay it out like this, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Just always take a look at your bank account before you start a project, and then the bank account after the project, and just take those two numbers away from each other, and you're going to be left with the flat profit. Of how much does your bank balance increase at the end of the project, as opposed to how much is Car Mechanic telling you how much profit you're actually making. Okay, well, back in the room, I really hope that has given you some idea of how much profit you're making on each vehicle. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, if you're buying new parts, it's going to go up in price. Sorry, the profit will be a little bit less because you're spending more on the new part rather than doing a repair job. In addition, when you come to rebuild, if you have to put a new engine in, right, you buy a shitty engine or a car with a shitty engine in it, and you have to buy new parts for the engine, bear in mind the whole thing with buying the new parts, especially if you're buying these cars from the DLC, which is the Porsche DLC I'm referring to, because the engine parts on that are astronomical. Okay, you've got to get 6-cylinder heads on one of them, and they are 900 a pop. Anyway, just some food for thought. But I'll be showcasing the Porsche DLC shortly, and I'll pull those points up about how to make some good money on those cars and what to watch out for. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. I've got to do a bit of video editing and splicing to get this all nice and pretty for you guys. But once again, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you like this sort of content, specifically this kind of gameplay, drop me a comment and I'll see what else I can come up with. So thank you very much. Thanks for listening, and Jack is out.